Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to Patience and Strategies. So, I'm a minimalist, and I live not on the streets. I live in my house, my little house on wheels, my truck, and this life isn't for everybody. But I'm a total introvert, so I don't like big crowds. I don't like to be around a lot of people. I don't like drama. I've had enough drama in my life, and you get to a certain point in your life, you just want peace and serenity, and that might require you to be alone, instead of with somebody all the time. My kids are grown, they are becoming young adults, and this was my opportunity to get out and see the world for what it is. Now, being a minimalist means I have the minimum amount of things. Everything I own is in my truck. And because of that, I can say no to a lot of things if I see something I want to buy because I've got nowhere to store it. If you have a house, the problem is you have impulse buying, and everything you see you want to buy because you've got storage. And then you buy it, and then you realize that you didn't really want it, then you forget about it, and it sits there for years before you say, "Oh, I remember when I bought that. Let me see if I can sell it." You know, um, I don't believe in being a slave to your house anymore, being a slave to your apartment, being a slave to the man. You know, when you get paid after putting up with everybody's bullshit on the way to work, while you're at work, dealing with customers' bullshit, employers' bullshit, and then you got to get back in the fucking traffic. Then you got to come home. And then if you got kids, you got to deal with the fucking kids too. Um, got to feed them, water them, clean them, bathe them, put them to bed, read them fucking stories, stop the kids from fighting. And then as they get older, they create more drama. So how much time do you guys really get to yourself? I mean, you're working so hard and getting nothing out of it, you know? When you're a parent, sometimes the rewards come later, and they come in the shape of your kids are doing well. They've got survival skills that you've taught them. Maybe some of them will get good jobs. Maybe some of them won't. Maybe some of them turn into drug addicts. Who really knows? But there's few rewards when you're a parent. I living out here is the biggest reward I've ever given myself because when I go to work all week and I get paid, that money is mine, and I choose what I do with it, which I invest it. Um, and if you can do that, I mean, hell, I've already stacked $11,000 in 12. That's probably not even right. I think it's 14 paychecks. I've stacked over $11,000. So the next 14, and then the next 14 after that. I mean, just, you're stacking cash now. And not to mention when you get that first 10,000, now your money is really starting to make money on your investments. So I use Acorns, and this is not an advertisement for Acorns, but if you guys use Acorns and you work and you put your money into Acorns, you're going to make between 5 to 8% a year on average, and that's pretty significant because if you've got $100,000 in there, you're pulling in $5,000 to $8,000 a year of free money. And if you do this long enough, there's no reason you couldn't have $500,000 and pulling in 25 to 35, maybe $40,000 on your investments every single year. Every $100,000 that you save, you're able to put more and more money in there. So, my philosophy is if you guys save $79 a day, you'll get your first 100,000 in just under 4 years. If you save $92 a day, save $92 a day, and you'll have 100,000 in 3 years. So the point is, when you're living out here in your van or your truck or your RV, whatever the case may be, if you're in there full time and all you do is get up and you go to work and You problem solve, because when you live in your car and your truck, there's a different set of challenges that you have in a house. A house has different set of challenges that you don't have in your van, okay? And there's more opportunities for growth when you live in your vehicle than when you live in a house, because you have to pay mortgage, you have to pay rent, and even if your house is paid off, then you still got all your utilities, you got maintenance, upkeep, property taxes. This is all money that you can go to work, make, and throw into the bank and not have to worry about it. So that's my point. Anybody ever wanted to start a business, this is probably the easiest, most lucrative business you'll ever start. Is learning how to get your money to make you money while you're making money. That should be a business. And everybody's got that business everywhere, but nobody seems to pay attention to that second business of your money making you money while you're making money. Nobody seems to pay attention to that, and it's sad. It really is. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but I've had to get into the right position to where I could say, okay, now I can do that. But my kids had to be grown, and once they were, that was the main thing holding me back. So once they was grown, that was it. And I also had to wait. I also had to be divorced or not even married. So by being divorced, I was able to say, okay, now I'm double ready for this, because now I don't have to worry about her bitching or taking her with me. Now I can just do me. And this is where you work, you save, and you stack cash really, really quickly. And before you know it, you got $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 saved up. And it comes at a bit of a sacrifice, but the reward is so much bigger than the sacrifice. I can't even tell you guys what a low risk business this is. And for me to save and put that money into my Acorns account and let that Acorns account mature 5 to 8% every single year, I don't know if I can go back to a house or go to an apartment now and pay rent. I just don't think I could do it. And even if I have the money to buy a house outright, I don't know that I would. Here I've got no neighbors. I got no neighbors out here. Got nobody I can disapprove with. Nobody that can kind of ruin your day from day to day, especially if you got a bad neighbor. But if you got a bad neighbor, the best thing you can do is pick up and fucking move. But out here, I don't have that. I get up. I'm at my place of employment right now. We open at 7:30 and I'll get off at 4. From there, I'll go to the park and hang out for a while. Or maybe I'll stop at Snooks and get some groceries and make some sandwiches or stuff and put them in my fridge. I do need to clean out my truck though, so maybe, speaking of which, maybe I'll go to the car wash and pull some stuff out and start vacuuming up really, really good and getting ready for winter, because we're starting to get cold here in St. Louis, the deadliest city in America. So there's ways around, making money. If you guys are strapped for cash and you don't know what to do, consider living in your car. And even if you got kids, you can still survive even with the kids. People with kids, and I see people doing it all the time. They live I see a single mother living with 3 girls in a van. It was on YouTube and I was watching. She's got a pretty nice setup. But she doesn't make much money, but had enough money to buy to work and buy a van and convert it to a small living quarters. And all 3 of the kids live in there, and that's just the way it is for now. You do what you got to do to survive. It builds character. You may not have what the rich people have, but what you do have is just an unimaginable set of problem solving and survival skills. And that's really what you're teaching your kids. Let your kids, bitch and gripe and look down on you just because you live in your car. Who gives a shit? But they're learning something whether they know it or not. So if they ever fall on hard times, they'll know what to do. They'll follow the example that you did. But if anybody wants to live in their van, live in their car, I urge you to do it. your truck? I mean, why give this money to these big corporations, these property management companies that are going around just buying up fucking houses so they can catch everybody strapped for cash? You know, and this is a growing community. I mean, the nomad living, the minimalist lifestyle, snowbirding, this is all the same. And eventually the government is going to catch up to us and probably try to make us pay taxes of some sort if you choose to live in your vehicle or whatever, because that's tax money they're not getting. And I don't know what the exact number is, as far as people living in their cars and trucks, but it's a lot. Some of us do it by choice, and then there are those of us who don't do it by choice, and the ones who don't do it by choice, the ones that have lost everything and hate it living in their car or their truck, well, they're homeless. The ones that do it by choice are not homeless. You've made the ultimate decision to be free from the government's rule, the government's hand. So the government has no control over you if you live in your vehicle. That's what I love, is the freedom to do what you want to do. So, all right, I'll get back with you guys later. You guys have a good day, and if you guys like this video, thumbs up and subscribe and let me know. And got any questions or comments, let me know. I'll answer them, and I can do a special video on something. All right, later.